Let's dive into everybody's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. We have Disco Inferno, who goes at Dave Meltzer, who, I don't know, man. We just have mixed, this is like mixed Dave nuts here, okay? It's just mixed nuts. You never know what you're going to get of Dave Meltzer just being a geek here in this segment. And to start things off again, we've been covering like Bischoff, Glenn Gilberti, and Raj Giri all go at Dave Meltzer. They will never stop doing it. I love reading their back and forths. It's hilarious. And so Glenn Gilberti, the real Disco, responds to Dave Meltzer here, and this is Dave responding to someone else, as it always begins. He has something to say to someone. So this B Hun guy says AEW is consistently doing well under 700K per week now, close to just 600K and soon to be in the 500K. Why are you defending really bad ratings? Who is going around saying that's whatever? Meltzer responds, if they were really bad, if they were quote unquote bad ratings, they wouldn't have been renewed as bad ratings get TV shows canceled. If they were okay ratings, they'd have gotten 50 million a year deal. If they were good, they'd have gotten 100 million. They got 100. So now Dave making up these invisible parameters and things that he knows nothing about. Well, if it was bad, if it was only okay, they'd get 50. If it was only good, they'd get 100, but they think it's really good, so they get 185 million a year. What does that tell you? Just tells me you're making up. And then Disco goes, WWE got 4 times that. So what word above good would you use to describe their ratings? They're super mega king good. WWEs are so good that they're the gods of everything. So moving along here, I quote tweet this or I screen grab it or whatever, and someone was like, Phil, why don't you follow Dave? I'm like, dude, he has had me blocked forever, dude. You can't even post a flute anywhere. Dude gets pissed. But anyways, so that response that he gave, they got 185 million a year. What does that tell you? My response was, this is gaslighting from a guy who doesn't study or learn the business. WBD making bad business decisions in the entertainment sphere in general is par for the course. Some of their movies do really good, and they've even shelved a few of those that had A-list actors in them while still releasing TV shows that flop. The ratings are objectively bad in comparison to the premier wrestling company that Meltzer compares them to day in and day out. You have to be able to admit that, which he just will never admit. So here's Dave Meltzer saying Alexa Bliss and WWE were at least far enough apart in contract negotiations that people are talking about not expecting a deal to be made. And then she's there at the Rumble, and Meltzer strikes again because, of course, why wouldn't she be? Here we go. So Dave Meltzer gives out his star ratings for WWE Saturday night's main event. And he's actually doling out decent stars here for this. And I don't know, are the tides turning with Meltzer? We'll see. But Dave Meltzer's ratings are Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, a 3, which is like, wow. The best guys, Tony got? No. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, 3.75. Strowman versus Fatu, 2.75. And then Gunther versus Jay, 4.5. So Jay Uso clocking in a 4.5 on the Meltzer scale. And you, Marks, are talking about he can't wrestle at Mania and then at WrestleMania. No. But yeah, Meltzer doling out actually good stars there for when they had a great match. Jay can have good match. Him and Gunther can have good matches. And people are like, oh, no one cared about it. What are you talking about? They got millions on the weekend. Dave Meltzer goes, due to a Nielsen processing issue, ratings for last night are estimated right now to be coming in at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Awful's like, why post this? It's like, exactly. So he didn't want to say the AEW ratings. He never does anymore. So wrestle purists are quoting Meltzer here because, of course, goofy birds of a goofy feather flock the goof together. So they say Elbow's publication here that he's so closely tied with, right, goes, this is their perspective of the TNA deal. This is Dave Meltzer, what he's got to say, coping over the TNA deal. From the TNA side regarding the cost cutting, the people, and this is them. So TNA's been re-signing people, but also they let people like PCO go. Now, a lot of folks would say, yes, bring in Mustafa Ali and these other talent like that and let go of guys like PCO, who are on inflated contracts because they were friends with Scott D'Amore. You know, that might be a good thing. Other people might say that's a bad thing. Dave is going to try and spin it like, oh, TNA's doing bad business now too. So Dave goes, the people that were offered new deals with less pay or to be switched to per event and left the company were people that were overpaid from their standpoint in deals that Scott D'Amore had signed. Deals with Rhino, PCO, Trent Seven, Kushida, and Jade Chung, who departed, had their contracts expire at the end of the year and were offered renewals at less money. This was a similar situation with Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Tries to make it about them. No, man, it's not similar. Sabin and Shelley's deals were up, and both WWE and AEW were throwing bigger money at them, 100%. Okay, and bigger opportunity. Both companies. Now Dave's trying to do this hindsight. That's actually what happened a year before any of this happened with Sabin and Shelley. A year before D'Amore was gone, who were close to D'Amore. D'Amore had also supposedly promised certain things to talent that once he was gone, the new management didn't go for, which of course that's bound to happen. But yeah, Dave just trying to make it about, even if they're close with D'Amore, bro, no. Okay. Their deals were up. People were like, they could maybe even go to New Japan. Even Dave was saying like that. So everyone knew, bro, they were getting deals, better deals from wherever, and they were going to go to quote unquote the big leagues. Don't do this revisionist history. So this TK Mark, his name's TK Mark, bro. He goes, just posted Dynamite 605K and 0.17 with max viewers over 1 million. Another great week. And then with max viewers over 1 million. No. So if 400,000 people were watching on Max, would that not be talked about? It's just the biggest cope ever. I have no idea where they invented these fake people watching or looking for AEW on Max. And then Meltzer goes, the ratings are scheduled to be out today earlier than I had reported, but we don't have anything at this moment. And then I go, I don't know what's funnier, Dave Meltzer lying when we have the ratings, because the ratings did come out, or the clear troll account saying Max somehow brings AEW viewership up to 1 million. And then like Dave biting for it. Like this TK Mark account has to be lying, like about their fandom, right? At S whatever. They're trolling Dave. Yo, with this, another 1 million. And then Dave sells it. Actually, we don't know the ratings, but just so Dave quote tweets this so people can see it. With Max, it goes over 1 million. He's not denying it. He's just like, well, we don't have the ratings yet, but maybe, you know? And it's just funny that that's the people he responds to in his bubble. Jamie Earhart gave me this clip of Dave actually being negative about Dynamite. Okay? I love this. Dave actually being negative about Dynamite, and he has been more and more because they're doing the more WWE thing, at least trying to. And also, as Konoha pointed out, hey, he wasn't complaining about old guys until it was Hurt Syndicate. And now all of a sudden there's all these old guys, and those people, too many of them, Cuervo, right? That's Meltzer saying that, not me. Whoa. It was the first time Meltzer saying that, not me, right? But he's being critical here, like no excuse, just AEW Dynamite ratings down from previous week. And I don't know, man, if Tony Khan and Dave Meltzer get into a rift, that would be so hilarious if it's like something happens where they're split because Dave's like, well, he's not listening to me now. You know, and then Dave has to melt down and go against Tony McCon. That would be so hilarious. But moving along, we're going to circle back to Dave actually criticizing AEWubs. Maria Kanellis announces her AEW departure. So I don't know. Hopefully she's in video games as a valet like that. So Switchblade says Dave implying that all polls he has seen suggest more people are watching AEW on Max than on TBS. So Dave's trying to say that more than 600K are watching on Max than TBS. Like that's what Dave is trying to gaslight and tell people now, or at least he won't deny it. But it's just what he's insinuating, man. When it's so fake, it would be in their top 10. Okay, it would be in Max's top 10 if 500,000 people were watching it, let alone 600,000. So Meltzer's like a response to Alfonso, who says, stop saying it doesn't include Max viewers when you know it's not a significant amount of viewers, 25 to 50K at best. And Alfonso, that's what I'm saying, bruv. You're right there with me. I give them 25 to 50, but that's being super generous. It's more like 10 or 5 to 10 or 15 maybe tops. Like, if you just really look at objectively, what were the ratings before? What are they now? How many people are clamoring about it being on Max? They don't even advertise it. So Meltzer goes, it always concerns me when people who clearly have no clue say things so strongly. Oh, really, Dave? You mean like what?
Dummy. Yeah.
You mean like all you ever do ever? Oh, my goodness. While I think the polls are skewed, I have yet to see one that doesn't list more. Dave, you can't ever see anything correct because you get worked by fake dirt sheets and you have everyone blocked who might say something that might say what your bubble would think is incorrect. So there's no polls you're seeing anywhere, not even Omegas, when you're bent down in front of them with the tongue out. The God, the best guys, Tony. Not even then are you seeing polls that don't favor your way, okay? That don't skew your direction. So, anyways, though, I have yet to see one that doesn't list more people watching on Max than TBS. Just to say that is so insane. To say that is so insane. Like, it might be true. But the best you can say is we don't have any idea without making something up. So you're making something up, putting it out there, and then you go, but that might just be, but then you know that the idiots that follow you will then regurgitate that nonsense. Like, you have any insight whatsoever. While I haven't seen a poll, while I don't know that the moon isn't made of cheese because I've never tasted it, the best guys, Tony Khan. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get
The
how
best guys, Tony Khan.
Craziness. So $14.99, please. Yeah, Neckbeards puts it together. Alexa Bliss and WWE contract impasses that scrapped Raw surprise return. Boom. Number 20 in the Rumble. Loving it. Doing it. Dave Meltzer. This is Meltzer said, what the goat? Bah. If you just predicted the opposite of what you report about WWE, you'd never be wrong. And it's so true. And this is also about Alexa Bliss. So Meltzer, they were at least far enough apart that people are talking about not expecting a deal to be made. And then even sapping them trying to cover up. Oh, it was 5 a.m. So Navtreek says, I'm crying, bro. The commentary team bodied Dave Meltzer's report. So here's what they said at the Rumble.
Thought she wasn't coming back. The internet said she wasn't coming back. We all thought she wasn't coming back.
The internet said she wasn't coming back.
It's Michael Cole. Every woman in this matchup has a look of shock.
Yeah, just cooking Meltzer and laughing at them. I wonder how many cheese wheels for these rats they're going to have to send out. But the latest on Alexa Bliss. So here's now Dave Meltzer, the latest after it happened. After it happened, now I know all the details, of course. Yes, the Observer. So Meltzer goes, I am told that the Alexa Bliss thing was a late negotiation. I don't believe that because it's pro wrestling. My belief is, except actually they were pulling a swerve. Dave, you're the only one getting swerved. When are you ever
stupid idiot?
The gist on Alexa Bliss was that her contract, because of the freezing and time off and everything, it was not up, but it was about to be up. So they didn't want to debut her and then have the contract up because then she kind of have them under a barrel. Have them under a barrel. You mean over the barrel? Oh, dude. I love Dave. Never ceases, has them under a barrel. You mean bent over the barrel? You idiots. He's straight just Brendan Schaubing it here. Oh my God. Pulling a me when I'm not focusing. Holy dude, that's so funny. Yeah, Meltzer, you're dumb. And here's the thing. The other rumors were that she just wanted to renegotiate a new deal because it's new everything and she's coming back, which makes the most sense ever. It wouldn't be the first time this has happened anywhere ever. So it's most likely that and not all this you're dramatizing it to be. It's kind of awkward to start someone, put them on TV, and then if you don't come to terms and you don't have a new contract, they disappear. They just figured get the new contract done. And I was told the contract didn't get done. And then I'm told, well, the contract did get done. I'm suspicious of that story. Oh, gee, Dave, you think you should be suspicious? You think you're not getting worked when the things you say aren't happening? And you're like, well, I'm actually suspicious. But after, I still have heard the story from multiple people tonight, including during the match, right after it happened. So they're still working, Dave. Yeah, Dave, she's not signed, bud. Trust us. She's not signed. Yeah, Dave. Hey, man. Oh, no. Oh, I thought you told me Alexa Bliss wasn't signed. She's not, Dave. No, it's like Bret Hart. She's going to go. They're actually selling Lily dolls on AEW Shop right now.
Stupid idiot.
What if they're still working him? And he's like, you all don't study. I'm the cool guy that everyone talks to. I know what you're thinking, but the deal was put together late. Like I said, I'm very skeptical when I look back. I know what you guys are all thinking. I'm a liar again. I'm lying, right? Well, I'm skeptical. When I look back at her tweets, it just feels like too much like a WWE thing to fool other people. Not me. I wasn't fooled, but other people, even though I was just fooled. It was people in the office they fooled too and high up. No, Dave, the people high up in the office weren't fooled. They just tell you that's wrong because you're an idiot. Because you're a useful idiot, you dumb. And then you get everyone going, oh, is this the thing? And then it's not that thing. And then the element of surprise is still alive. So then Meltzer goes on about he's got to open up his chicken lips about Drew McIntyre. And he goes, even before it, Drew McIntyre storming out story came out. I had heard it. So even before the story came out, me, the Wrestling Observer journalist, heard it. But I didn't report it. But even before it came out, I heard it. Even before it happened, I was told it happened.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
Holy man, Dave he's lost his mind. Holy. And then I was told, don't worry, it's a work. And then that same person came back later and just goes, oh God, I just figured he was doing that because it was in front of everybody, and just said there's a guy that a lot of people were pissed at in the match with the idea he was trying to get himself over and not the match over, and he was doing things. It's multiple people telling me the Drew thing. He wasn't happy. So before the story came out, I already knew it happened. And then that same guy that told me it happened then told me he was actually angry and it didn't happen. And that's actually multiple people, not just the one. Like Dave's just lying. And then I jumped in the water and then a whale ate me and then he spit me out and then I landed on Mars and then I found the shoes that Sonic wore in Sonic 3 and then I ran back to Earth, and then like it's just a kid making up. This is insane, bro. He's literally saying that before the story came out, I already knew about it. And the guy who told me that then came to me later and was like, actually, it's real. I was wrong what I just told you. And actually, multiple people told me that. Holy. And just said there's a guy, whatever. It's not an angle. And if they end up doing an angle with the person later, which there's no hints of anything, but the reason I heard it was because I heard. Oh my God, guys. Which there's no hints of anything, but the reason I heard it was because I heard that Drew was not the only one unhappy about the situation. And then just meanwhile, it's a work, dude, and they're telling you multiple things because you're dumb enough to go and say multiple things, man. And we have 2 clips of Meltzer before we get out of here. We also have his reaction to the Rumble, the fallout of the Rumble with Brian and all of that. So we're going to get to that, okay? With their hating asses. Okay? So we're going to put these bookmarks to the side. So the latest on Drew's frustrations in WWE. So we already know Drew's frustrations is his character, but no, Dave's going to keep running with it. So we were told that he was hot, although I believe everyone cooled down, but he was clearly mad when he came through the curtain after being eliminated. We were told others were as well, but weren't as obvious about it. McIntyre and Damian Priest were to start an angle, and they felt the momentum was lost when LA Knight got in the way, as they were doing the Priest throwing out of McIntyre. Holy, the top guys want things to go smoothly and have their story come off as planned, and that mentality is why they're top guys. Yeah, Dave trying to explain the mentality of top guys like he would know. So here's Meltzer just after the Rumble. He goes, I'd have gone with Punk versus Roman as a title match. Of course you would, because that's what Chat GPT would do. This guy, Danny Hernandez, says, just like we all knew Alexa Bliss, except you. Meltzer goes, hate to break your heart. Don't break your heart. You know your achy breaky heart? Seth Rollins, Billy Ray Cyrus? No. Hate to break your heart, but it was reported before the show started, and I had read it, but it wasn't my story. It wasn't even hidden that she was there. So look at Dave now trying to be like, no other people. It wasn't even hidden. Everyone knew that she was there, actually. But I just didn't report it because it wasn't my story. Like, that stopped you before, Dave. And then Danny Hernandez goes, but your divergent forms is what AEW is, and it's sinking. Ratings are what they are, and you're sinking your teeth into them, and WWE is doing what they're doing, despite you not being the number one WWE reporter, whatever. Meltzer goes, if you read my lead story 2 weeks ago and second story in the current issue, you'd realize just how far off base you are. So Dave thinks that he can go and he just thinks that he can shill this, but then go, well, I did say the ratings are more for WWE. And it's like, we know, but you don't. But the problem is that you try and do what you call the spin and try and make sense of why AEW would be competition when they're just not. And that's all everyone wants you to admit. Tony Khan's not good, and your idea of this wrestling is wrong. That's all. Meltzer fears facts and flutes, dude. And then I said Meltzer would also have Omega and Ospreay be the gods of everything. Actual words he used. Thank nobody's doing anything. This old hack coot is thinking in regards to, like, yeah, have it being Punk. Like, no one should book anything he's thinking. Brian, let's give Brian a Brian. He always deserves a Brian. Brian. So Joseph J. Alexander says, well, there it is, the stupidest thing I'll read all month. So Alvarez says, pretty sure I Show Speed took more punishment in 30 seconds than Cody and Kevin took in an entire ladder match. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Cope. Anyways, though, Heel Uzi posts these couple of clips, which he lifted from Meltzer. Said, what? You son of a bitch, Heel Uzi. No, we love you, buddy. So Laps fan Mark watches wrestling once a year and does a Rumble review on Brian and Vinny show. Here he reviewed Dynamite. Said he's heard clips of Dave saying Brian calls Death Riders goofball and his gang of idiots, sees Hobbs as a star, mocks B&V for hyping up AEW for years. So Brian just gets roasted here, which is hilarious. Let's listen to this.
You don't have to go long. What'd you think of Dynamite?
So my history with AEW is
Yes.
I watched when CM Punk came back, of course, because I was like, that's interesting. But I never really watched the show. I've heard clips of you and Dave arguing about it, where like you're saying something bad about it, and he's going, Brian.
Brian.
I've heard a little bit of that. But yeah, so I had 102 degree fever, and I was like, I have Max because my telephone company gives me Max for free, and I was like, oh, the AEW is on Max. I'll give it a look and see what it is. And I don't know what people are talking about. It was I watched MJF be really mean to
Jeff Jarrett.
JAFF.
Yes, Jeff Jarrett.
JARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. And I was like, God damn, there's Jeff Jarrett. Look at him. And
then this guy comes around like once a year to review, and this is his thought of Dynamite. Just hilarious.
Ever. I was like, when are you guys going to stop insulting each other and just like throw a punch? Why is this going for so fucking long? I don't remember what else happened in the show. Then the main event was John Moxley and the Goofball Bunch.
John Moxley and the Goofball Bunch. He laughs. He can't even say it with a straight face.
Against Power
Goofball Bunch
versus
Hobbs.
Hobbs.
Yes.
And I was like, this guy Hobbs, that guy's great. Like big, mean looking dude yells like, that's your champion, not Goofball and his gang of idiots. So yeah, I watched that, and like I think it ended with, how did it end?
They beat the shit out of him.
They just jumped into the ring and they all started beating on him. And then so I think like last week I was sitting on the couch and I was like, oh yeah, Dynamite's on again. And I was like, I don't know. And I turned it on again, and they were like, Renee Paquette is going to interview John Moxley. And I was like, do they ever talk about how she's married to this man who's lost his mind? Because I did see
exactly. There's just no consistency.
They were
with
like, Renee Paquette is going to interview John Moxley. And I was like, man, who's lost his mind? Because I did see, I also saw when he tried to kill Daniel Bryan, putting a plastic bag. And I'm like, what is
it's
this?
so stupid.
This is the wrestling that you people have been talking about for all these years? This is what I'm supposed to be like, like jizzing my pants over this shit?
See, this guy's like hasn't been around his friends. He's listening into their show. He's hearing these idiots put any of this over. And like, oh, it's so good. The people in this, oh no, watch AEW. It's good, I swear. He comes back, watches it, and is like, what the is this? You guys are clowns. This is clown.
Putting a plastic bag over this other man's head. This is nonsense. But I watched, I was like, I want to watch this because I want to see if Renee Paquette's like, Jonathan, I'm taking our daughter and I'm moving out of the house. You're a maniac. But she just stood there while he was like,
like the Tasmanian devil.
I'm the champion. I'm the champion. You know what to that briefcase that she's on? You see me. I'm a champion.
And I was like, what is this?
It's eerie. It's like he's here.
Who is saying, yes, go out there, John, and do that? Like, who? Why? What? Tell me, Brian. You tell me why this is.
Well,
why is it?
It's Tony's company, dude.
Well, you know him. You know him, right?
What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
Tell him, Tony, or just cover it the way it objectively is. The Observer. Cover it. And then worry about if he's not friends with you after. And just be honest about it.
All right.
So
you weren't
impressed.
Yeah.
I just,
Didn't hook you?
is that what it is?
Lately. Well, it depends on what you're watching. Like you didn't see any Will Ospreay match.
Oh my God. Like that's it just depends what you're watching. You didn't see any Will Ospreay matches. And I bet this guy goes, yeah, there was an Ospreay match on the episode. Oh, you didn't see an Ospreay match. Like that's going to change anyone's mind. They're changing the channel, dude.
Or anything.
Not even on Ospreay, but like that's done nothing. Show me where that's increased a viewership or sold a ticket anywhere.
I saw the time that CM Punk was eating them muffins and yelling at you.
Yeah.
That was fun. I didn't see that in the history of AEW. And I have seen a Will Ospreay match at some point in my life because he goes bing, ba, 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 bing. He's just all over the place.
He's not wrong.
Calm down, guy. Do a headlock. Like we don't need all these flips. The flips are fine, but we don't need all these flips.
Sounds like Drew would hate that guy.
You don't have to do every flip.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someday. Was it good? Was it good, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good.
Yeah, was it good? Yeah, I thought it was. Sometimes it's good. Oh, Brian. That's our Brian moment of the week there. Believe it or not. That's hilarious. So let's go over to their actual YouTubes here and see what's going on. So here's them talking more. Like Dave Meltzer has actual criticisms about AEW. So let's check this out over here.
Got a Mariah May Tony Storm video package from Saturday. And we got a Mariah promo where she basically said Tony Storm is not real. If she wants to play the role of Tony, she can play the Tony that gave her heart to me and I stole her belt. The Tony whose most famous moment was bleeding and crying in my arms. The Tony that walked out of AEW, she wouldn't have to see me. I don't need to role play. When you're this good, you don't change a thing. She is the woman from hell and will remind Tony for the rest of her life. We had a video package of the Guns are on the way back. For those of you asking where the Guns have been.
And they just sound so like, could y'all imagine if I was reviewing even my freestyle reviews and they have this written down? Could you guys imagine if I was just like, yeah, and then this happened, and then this happened? If I did that, it's a bad show. Like even when I'm skimming through, it's more excited. Like I actually wanted to do this. Look how defeated and tired, and it just looks like you're having no fun, buddy.
Had a video package of a Hurt Business murdering Private Party. They'll accept any challenge from any challengers, anytime, any place, they said. Had a recap of the opening angle, the Jeff Jarrett finish. Ty and Deanna threatened to go after Harley on Collision. And then, yes, the main event, Mercedes and Yuka Sakazaki, which turned into a good match, but like early on, they weren't working great together. They tried that rolling cradle spot where you like doing a big circle around the ring. And man, they could not get that thing to work. And Yuka finally gave up. And Mercedes did the Three Amigos.
No crowd reaction to that at all.
No.
I mean, and that's like one of the most easy spots to get a reaction. But
that just tells you. So now, Dave, go. That just tells you how bad the AW product is right now. Like how no one gives a shit about anything anyone's doing. Now say that.
Crowd. I mean, the reality was, they weren't that hot for Mercedes anyway.
They weren't that hot for Mercedes. It's the crowd's fault.
But they didn't know who Yuka Sakazaki was. And it's just...
They did not think she...
So if they knew who she was, then they'd care about the Three Amigos. No, it's because they don't care in general, dude.
He had any chance of winning this match.
No, well, of course not.
And, actually, what got the least reaction of anything in the entire match was the Monet Maker at the end. It didn't look good. Nobody popped, and that was the finish. And that was the main event. So, honestly, the show felt more like a Collision than a Dynamite. It was like... The matches were fine.
Didn't feel like anything to me.
There was like one great match.
Didn't feel like anything to me, dude. Based Meltzer. What the...
The beginning, but the rest were just fine. You knew who was going to win practically every single match. Just to not have that Dynamite vibe to it.
No, and nor the crowd. I thought this
what's a Dynamite vibe? The same vibe, a dead crowd and matches that no one really cares about.
I thought this was a weak show. I mean, they've had a lot of good ones lately, but
oh my god, which ones? The one that Brian's friend was just clowning. Which has been their good shows? They've had a lot of good ones lately. Even Dave, he gives his poker tell, starts scratching his big head. Even he doesn't believe that. No, they haven't. Which was the good one, Dave?
This was just, aside from the first like 20 minutes, just didn't really do it for me. And the Jay White Yuta match was real good, but the crowd didn't react to it big. So,
the match was good, but the crowd didn't react to it big. So, damn. But other than that, it's so dumb, man. It's because no one cares. So overall, no one gives a say that. Overall, no one cares. AEW should really try and turn this around. I mean, it's not sustainable. Yeah, they got this TV deal, but God damn it, what if the option isn't picked up? You can say that, Dave. You're allowed to say that. And your vision of pro wrestling, this is your vision, and it's not working.
Didn't feel like, I don't think it came off on TV like it was anything great. And angle wise, it's God, like everything just like heel beat down, then more heel beat downs. It's like, I know that's like the Tony Khan formula is heel beat downs,
and which hasn't worked, Dave. So the Tony Khan formula, and this is, so here's the thing too. I know that's like the Tony Khan formula of heel beat downs, and the best guy is Tony Khan, but it's just not working anymore. He's saying that as though like it was a good thing that's worked and it's a brilliant Tony Khan. The best guy is Tony Khan. No, it never was good. This is why it's been going downhill, because he does this over and over and over again, and you made excuses for it over and over and over again until now you finally wake up. And what do I tell you all here at PWT all the time? Everybody wakes up. Everybody has their day where they snap out of the matrix and go, holy, what's going on here at AEW? Everybody has that day.
It's overdone. You know what I mean? Especially if it's done like one time after another, it doesn't even work. You got to do different things.
Dave Meltzer listens to Phil Marks, confirmed.
You do something over and over and over again, it's not going to work. So, I thought the first segment was
so the belts, the tournaments, the battle royals, the shoehorned in number one contenders doing the same thing over and over again. The casino gauntlet matches. Right, Dave? So just doing the heel run-ins, right? The commentary over and over and over and over. So that's what people are trying to tell you. So you admit it there, but if I just say it to you, you're gonna block me. You don't like that?
That beatdown I thought went pretty well, but then the rest of the show. But we got it.
Jesus. And then he still tries to justify it. Oh, I thought it went down really well. So here we have the fallout from Royal Rumble.
I believe the 65-470 is probably accurate. And also, I believe the 65-470.
I'd be very thankful.
So here's Dave coping about the attendance at the Royal Rumble as well. Well, I'm calling it cope because he's like, well, I believe in the number that it says. Yeah, Dave, shut up. You believe in the fake numbers from Wembley too. Like, shut up, man.
5,470 is a total number, is an accurate number because, you know, they both could be fake. But I think that the 65,470 is probably accurate. And also, the gate was, they said it was the third biggest gate in history behind the 2 days of wrestling from last year, which were both a little over 17 million. And the third biggest would have been the Arena in, was it 2016? AT&T Stadium one where they actually sold out AT&T Stadium and they really gate was they announced 17.3, but it was really 16.5, which is charge, you know, the Ticketmaster, you know, and that's just the way they do it. I mean, most people don't do it, but it's not dishonest. It's just the way they do it. So based on normally how you would do a gate, this gate is probably about 17 million, which means that, you know, they had like, you know, again, if it's 65,470, it's probably
like he holds the microphone like his brain can't give his hand enough power to hold it properly. And he's just sitting here doing Steiner math. You know, if it's this, just say, listen, the gate is more likely like this, but it's wrestling. So you know that they carny it up a bit, but I believe it's close to that. There you go, man.
You know, 61, 62 paid in that range, which is a lot of people. And with that
61, 62 paid, Dave, it was like 67,000. So you mean to tell me that he's trying to say Tony Khan numbers are just they're not paid? Holy
of you know, in the $17 million range. I mean, that's just under an average of 300. That's a great UFC.
How many people were at the Rumble? It was like 67,000 or something like that. No. So, I mean, come on. He's trying to say it was like 60, 61 paid. So 7,000 people there, Dave, didn't pay. Come on, man. He's always were there 7,000 employees total on the whole thing? I mean, that seems like a lot. No. So what the fuck are we talking about?
On WWE gate. I mean, it's far and away, it's the third biggest gate in the history of professional wrestling. And, outside of last year, there was never a gate bigger than this one. So, they were able to charge big prices for this and pack the building too. So that's pretty interesting. The other one.
So that's pretty, he can't even go. So good for them. It's amazing. They're doing, so that's pretty intriguing that they're able to charge a lot of money and pack the building. Why is it intriguing, Dave? Can you please say, I mean, it's premier entertainment. It's mainstream entertainment. I mean, look at Cuervo and all of these other fine, darker melanin skin gentlemen that totally don't trigger me. Why can't Dave be positive about it then and go, I mean, it's just phenomenal for the wrestling business. I just can't believe it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of, how they present stuff. I think it's a little childish still, and I do prefer the AEW style, but I mean, it is working, and the stories are compelling, clearly, to the masses. Tony God. Why can't he just do that? Instead of, stress himself out, he's here, his hand can't function, he's, racking his brain, as he calls it, right now, trying to, scramble the marbles in there right now. Oh, God, what other do I have to say? I can't just freestyle this without saying 10 billion times because I'm just lying the entire time and they're going to figure me out. Tony Khan.
They did a thing with Jackie Redmond and she said that Cody is injured, but she was very vague about it. And I haven't heard anything new about this one, but she said Cody's injured. We don't know, if he may have to miss time. We don't know if it was just kind of a thing, he's injured. And we don't know the more details on it, but he's probably going to be on SmackDown in some form on Friday. We don't know how long he might have to be out of action from the ring. They didn't do an injury angle, although, there were pretty nasty bumps on that ladder that, could have injured either guy. And then when Levesque is talking after the show, basically, he says that there's no major injuries.
So he's wrong. KO's expected to be back on SmackDown and call like it's in Cody Rhodes, like it's not. KO runs out and attacks Sami Zayn. And then he goes, oh, there's no major injuries. So, Dave, sometimes they say there are major injuries when there aren't, like Jade Cargill and other people. So you're just like mad that they're kayfabing and working. So do you get it now, Dave? They're really hurt or something, you know, KO really is bleeding and hurting. Say he's not hurt. And when someone's not hurt, like they're just working you like fiddles. And he's like mad that they're kayfabing stuff, as we've started to chronicle and point out here at PWT. He's mad at kayfabe now. It's crazy. This is the cope. He's just forgetting what wrestling is. Yeah, dude. So he was wrong about everyone just showing up on SmackDown. KO's there at Raw, attacks him, and he's still selling, and he's all beat up and has a shiner. And you're like mad that Triple H comes out and goes, oh, there's no significant injuries. Okay, Dave, I've seen 5-round UFC wars where Dana White comes out and goes, yeah, I told them take him right to the hospital right now. Don't do any press, nothing. Go right to the hospital. And then we've seen some where he comes back and goes, yeah, there's no major injuries. Everyone's fine. Da 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 da. So, Dave, what's your problem with that? It's a sport. It's not going to be this. Like, you are mad that they're kayfabing what you don't want them to kayfabe, and they're not kayfabing what you want them to kayfabe, or what? Like, it's such baby back.
So, you know, I don't know if it's storyline. I don't know if they forgot to. I mean, it's hard to believe that they would have a storyline and not include Paul Levesque in on the storyline. If they
Jesus, he literally with a straight face. Look at his shark-brained, no soul, dead behind the eyes. I mean, if they're doing a storyline, surely they told Paul Levesque they're doing a storyline. Dave, you're inventing in their head that they are doing an injury storyline. There was no injury storyline. That was never part of the storyline. And surely they'd tell Paul Levesque, you mean to pretend that the guy who works you and none of his creative gets out to you, and you try and leak it and you fail and look like an idiot and he makes you look dumb time and time again? You mean that guy won't know the inner workings of the creative? However, Tony Khan, who leaks you everything, you wouldn't ever dare say this about Tony. Oh, I don't know if Tony would, obviously, like, well, he's the head of creative everything. He's the god of creative. So Triple H, bro, you're not about to keep the same energy when you know goddamn well he knows what's going on. And when Triple H comes out and says no major injuries, that sort of implies maybe you'll see KO next week. KO's not gone for the road to WrestleMania type thing. Expect to see him around. That's sort of what it implies as a beat to the story. Meanwhile, you're too dumb to understand that. This is crazy. We're not even 3 minutes in.
A storyline injury.
Especially good since he's the guy in charge.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing I got to ask, and I guess he claimed there were no major injuries, but they did that spot in the Royal Rumble when Seth, Punk, and Roman all got eliminated, and they're brawling outside, and Seth goes to do the curb stomp on Roman. And I don't know if he slipped on the mat or if he was used to doing a curb stomp with the other leg. But, dude, that guy went up in the air and he stomped with 2 feet on Roman's head and neck. I mean, it was a double foot stomp on the floor on his head and neck. And I watched it in slow motion over and over again. And I was like, oh, my God. And man, they went over to Roman quick after that. And they were checking on him. And when Seth went to do the second curb stomp onto the steps, I mean, he came nowhere near that guy. I mean, he protected him so much on that second one.
So they're good at working, and he wasn't hurt, or else they wouldn't have gone to the second one. Thus, Triple H said there's no major injuries. So Brian's like, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I know he said that, but I mean, Brian, shut the f up, dummy. You're explaining yourself why it's what Triple H said. So just accept what he said. God damn it.
God. So I don't know how that guy didn't get hurt on that. That looked like an easy concussion. I mean,
sure, but he didn't, Brian. So shut the up. How about that?
Just double foot stomp that guy right in the head and neck.
Or like, okay, he didn't get hurt, but don't question Triple H as part of your analogy. I'll react the same. Damn, I don't know how he didn't get hurt, but don't question Triple H. That makes me go, oh, there's no major injuries, though. Thank God. I don't know about what Triple H is saying there, Paul Levesque. And right immediately after Dave is insinuating, I don't even know if he's in on the creative. The guy running the ship might not even be in on the creative. Whereas AEW, the guy running the ship is the creative. And Brian's like, yeah, well, considering he's Paul Levesque, like piggybacking off of Triple H might not know the creative And I don't know what he's saying about injuries, but man, I'm telling you, this guy might be injured over here. Nerds.
Brutal. I didn't hear anything about it.
It's not a big injury. Oh my God.
About that one either. I haven't heard.
I didn't hear anything about that either because it's nothing. So don't try and paint it like Triple H doesn't know. And we don't know. Maybe there was a serious injury. There are reckless out there.
Anything about any injuries other than the thing that Jackie Redmond said on Cody? Asked around, haven't heard any. I mean, I'll probably hear something tomorrow on not just this, but on many different things, I'm sure. But that being one of
Drew.
Okay, I did hear about Drew. So the Drew story, which Mike Johnson broke, that's a legit story. Okay, so Drew came back, and he was mad about somebody who, because at first it was funny because at first it was like even before like it came.
Jesus Christ, where are you taking me, bud?
Like it came out, I'd heard it, and then someone goes, it's just, don't worry, it's a work. And then that same person came back later and just goes, oh God, I just figured he was doing that because it was in front of everybody, and just said, there's a guy that a lot of people were pissed at in that match with the idea that he was trying to get himself over and not the match over, and he was doing things. I want to mention his name. It'll probably come out tomorrow because it's only one person telling me the name, but it's multiple people telling me that
oh my God. So Dave's trying to lie and say he knew all of this before all the people who came out and said all that he's
Drew thing was he wasn't happy. It's not an angle. If they end up doing an angle with the person later, which there's no hints of anything, but the reason I heard it was because I heard that Drew was not the only one unhappy about the situation. It was nothing that in the match, like it's not like I could go back to. I mean, I watched that match close.
Dave watched it so close, but meanwhile, I noticed it, and I watched it twice, and the second time over, I noticed it immediately. And me and Husey messaged each other, and we're like, "You saw that, huh? It's got to be no. How would Drew even know what LA Knight was doing unless it was whatever." So for Dave to be like, "I watched it, and it was," you couldn't even tell what it was. No, you can tell what they're talking. You can tell what Drew may have been mad about, Dave. With your keen eye, you're not really watching it. That's the thing.
Didn't notice anybody trying to show off or anything like that, doing stuff that they weren't supposed to do or whatever. But there was more than one person, in that match.
So wrestlers are telling you now, Dave, huh? Wow.
I again,
WWE superstars telling Meltzer right now
that somebody's going to get that name out within the next couple of days. But and if I get a second source, it'll be me. But right now it's only one source. But the Drew thing's legit.
Clown show liars. That, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's cope over the Royal Rumble, and that was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.